Part 105. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1054. Run? When did I say I would run? Boom. The whole world trembled violently, and streams of extremely powerful death energy rushed out from the cracks in the ground like angry dragons. Deep underground, it seemed as if a powerful ferocious beast was quickly awakening, its breathtaking aura threatening the entire world. The old man's expression was distorted, and his eyes showed fear and enthusiasm. The master has awakened. Anyone who dares to offend the master will die. Boom. A huge black tentacle covered with suction cups penetrated the ground and whipped towards Su Junming in mid-air like lightning. Before they even got close, a rotten smell of death was already coming over. He frowned slightly, and when he pressed the bridge of void under his feet, his figure disappeared instantly. Precisely dodged the touch on the wrist. Choke. The crisp sound of the sword resounded through the sky. Su Junming drew his sword in his hand. A slash in the air. Swish, millions of feet of sword energy rolled forward like the Yangtze River. With a single stroke of sharp sword energy, the thick tentacles were instantly cut off. Just like if a pillar is not bent, a huge mountain will fall. The tens of millions of feet of tentacles, seemingly slow but actually fast, suddenly fell down. Roar. In pain, an angry roar came from deep underground. The next moment, endless tentacles, big and small, swung from the depths of the ground, and the previous small world was instantly torn to pieces. The flowers, plants, and trees that once were there have lost all their vitality and turned into ashes under the huge death energy. As the world shattered, a shocking scene appeared in front of Su Junming. As far as the eye can see, trillions of spaces are completely filled with tentacles of all sizes. These tentacles vary in size, with the larger ones piercing deeply into the chaotic rock above, with a diameter exceeding hundreds of millions of feet. The smaller ones are millions of feet long and millions of feet wide. The total number of large and small tentacles is no less than 1 billion. These tentacles twisted wildly, like long hair blowing in the wind, which was extremely weird. All the tentacles have huge suction cups, and at the tip, there is a huge mouth full of fangs. With the appearance of this monster, the already rich death energy turned into a sea. Even the chaotic spiritual energy was contaminated and turned into death energy. Su Junming's pupils shrank. This was the first time he saw such overbearing death energy, which could even pollute the chaotic aura. Roar. Suddenly, a roar hundreds of times louder than before exploded from deep underground. Everything within billions of miles was shattered by the huge sound waves. Su Junming frowned, activated the Dian mirror, and stared at the monster below. But see you. Between the countless tentacles, corpses, and bones of various sizes and shapes rolled like an ocean. Gradually, an unimaginably large head slowly rose from the sea of corpses. The pale green giant eye is almost equivalent to 1/10 of the sun in the prehistoric world. A sharp horn, tens of billions of feet long, sharp and huge. No nose. A huge mouth was filled with circles of fangs, like giant leeches. The caliber is large enough to swallow several Earth immortals at the same time. To be honest, this was the first time Su Junming encountered such a huge monster. The Chaos God Demon's gloomy size looked like a child in front of this monster. Even in Pangu Yuanling's memory, there were few beings comparable in size to this monster. Only Tiangong Taoist's double-headed black tortoise body can be compared with it. The auras of the two are also similar, and they are obviously chaos gods and demons at the level of Hunyuan Xianxian. Separated by trillions of miles, two huge miserable green eyes stared at Su Junming. In an instant, an unimaginable amount of pressure crossed the void and fell on him. With his current strength, combined with his natal spiritual treasure, Pangu sword, and magical god pearl, he is enough to kill the Hunyuan true immortal. But facing Hunyuan Xianxian, conventional methods no longer work. Just like just now, the Pangu sword could cut off one huge tentacle, but it couldn't cut off thousands of tentacles. Fortunately, I'm not unprepared. With a thought in his heart, banners of gods and demons appeared all around. After tens of millions of years of sacrificial training, there are no new gods and demons who can advance to the level of Hunyuan true immortal. However, the foundation of the major sacred flags, nourished by sufficient Hunyuan spiritual energy, has made great progress compared with the past. If he was a fat giant in the past, then he was a strong man with muscles all over his body. The realm has not changed, but the physical body has become stronger with sufficient chaotic spiritual energy. It has even slowly caught up with the 12 ancestral witches. After all, the ancestral witch only achieved enlightenment with the energy of heavy turbidity, while the gods and demons of Dushan used the spiritual energy of chaos to temper their bodies. It would be normal if he had practiced cultivation for hundreds of millions of years and surpassed the ancestral witches and became a more powerful being. I have never had the opportunity to fully activate the Dushan gods and demons formation. Today is the perfect time to show off my divine power. Thinking of this, a surge of pride surged in my chest. He has been looking forward to this day since he broke through Hunyuan. Quickly connect with both hands. The 17 gods and demons roared angrily, manifested their huge bodies tens of millions of feet, and rushed towards each other quickly. The 12 ancestral witches quickly merged, and a huge gray-haired man appeared in mid-air. Its body is powerful and its aura is powerful, especially compared to the monster in the distance. The latter obviously didn't expect that the little bug that was wiped out with a wave of his hand would have such a method. Not daring to be negligent, he urged his billions of tentacles, like a giant whip that held up the sky, with earth-shaking power, and struck down with a crash. Su Junming was focused on nothing else and urged the formation fiercely. Dong Huang Tai and Zai turned into Pangu's eyes, and the latter's aura instantly improved. Fuxi turned into the kidneys, Zilong turned into the meridians, and Tianfeng, who had just joined, turned into the heart. The already tyrannical aura rose again, and the body that was still somewhat insubstantial quickly solidified, almost resembling a real person from a distance. More than a dozen giant axes, knives, and guns merged rapidly, and a shocking giant axe as big as a mountain slowly took shape. Su Junming's method of cultivating Pangu axe is the same as Tai Zhenjun's favorite magic weapon, Tai Golden Ship. The more magic weapons are added, the power will be doubled. A dozen giant shields were fused together, and a bronze tower shield as thick as a mountain and extremely strong expanded rapidly. The 17 banners of gods and demons are also 17 single-element worlds. Under the stimulation of the large formation, it turned into 17 gems, 9 of which were integrated into Pangu's axe, and 8 were integrated into the giant shield. The atmosphere of the two improved again. When Su Junming integrated the Pangu sword into the giant axe, and the magical god pearl into the giant shield, the two seemed to have broken through some kind of limit, and the vast treasure light rose into the sky. Su Junming flew into the mind of Pangu's real body, feeling an unprecedented power, his heart was surging, and he felt that there was no rival in the world. Hung Jun and San King are all no match for him. Just when he was so heroic, a torrent of power from heaven and earth came from the distant depths of chaos. The power of heaven and earth in the prehistoric world. He couldn't allow him to think too much. The monster, which looked like a combination of a giant octopus and a leech, and was full of deathly energy, had already controlled billions of tentacles and was beating it like crazy. His consciousness connected with Pangu's real body, he held the giant shield tightly in his left hand and pressed it down fiercely. Boom! It seemed like the heaven and earth were shaking. A thick film of light protects the body in the middle like lightning. Boom boom boom. Like thunder and thunder, billions of tentacles struck up crazily. A giant shield that is comparable to the best Hunyuan spiritual treasures. With the support of dozens of spiritual treasures, its defensive power is surprisingly powerful. No matter how hard you hit your wrist, it's still hard to break. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1055. Su Junming activated his giant shield to block the incoming infinite tentacles. To describe this feeling, it's like holding an umbrella on a heavy rainy day. Bang bang, the whole umbrella cover is beating. It's not Su Junming's style to just take a beating without fighting back. Slowly raised the giant axe in his hand. The mighty spiritual light is like the sun rising into the sky. Pushed to the extreme, Su Junming's eyes widened in anger. Cut. Boom, the mighty axe light is like a sky river, flowing forward in a mighty way. It was like a bolt of lightning, traveling hundreds of millions of miles in an instant, extremely fast. The billions of tentacles stagnated in an instant, like a huge mountain collapsing and falling suddenly. Boom. It's like a giant bell ringing, the sound vibrating for 300 billion miles. A huge black brick suddenly appeared in mid-air, blocking the light of the axe. When the two collide, it is like sparks hitting the earth, arousing billions of auras, vast and colorful, and beautiful but containing infinite murderous intent. Huh. Su Junming was surprised by the tyranny of brick. Although he is now far away from the prehistoric world and the borrowed power of heaven and earth is limited, Pangu's true body, which is composed of 17 gods and demon flags, has the combat power of the Hunyuan Xianxian level, coupled with the equivalent of 10 restrictions, the giant axe and shield of the best Hunyuan Lingbao. Even an ordinary Hunyuan golden immortal can fight. As a result, the inevitable blow was blocked by a brick. Let me see how many times you can block my axe. The giant axe was raised high, and the mighty spiritual light rose again. At this moment, all the tentacles of this chaotic giant monster trembled inexplicably, and then, an invisible swallowing force enveloped all directions, and everything within billions of miles, whether it was soil, death energy, or chaotic spiritual energy, was completely absorbed. Swallowed. Soon, a black ball of light appeared in the giant monster's mouth. The rapidly expanding ball of light contains the power to destroy the world. Su Junming looked solemn, knowing that he couldn't let it take shape completely. The axe was slashed out, and the powerful light of the axe was like the Yangtze River, rushing forward like lightning. The giant monster was not stupid. The black ball of light condensed with infinite power in its mouth rushed straight towards the axe light like a supergiant cannonball. Getting closer, getting closer. In an instant, the dazzling white light illuminated the heaven and earth. Immediately afterwards, thunder louder than the Hunyuan heavenly tribulation shook the entire underground world. The sound was followed by a powerful aftermath that was powerful enough to blow away the Hunyuan celestial immortal. The giant shield blocked it, and the aftermath was not threatening. Hundreds of millions of miles apart, one person and one strange person met each other's eyes. One is indifferent, the other is cruel. Roar. The earth-shaking roar came straight towards Su Junming with awe-inspiring majesty. Boom, billions of tentacles once again trigger the infinite suction. Everything was like a rehearsal before. The giant ball formed by the light of the axe and the death energy collided hard together. The series of battles caused more and more Pangu Yuanling to accumulate in Su Jun's sea of consciousness. However, since his cultivation has reached Hunyuan, he is no longer affected by it. But he activated the giant axe and struck out more than a dozen axes, and he was inextricably killed by the chaotic giant monster. The accumulated Pangu Yuanling seemed to have exceeded a certain limit, and a stream of torrents merged into Su Junming's heart like lightning. 4 huge divine patterns appeared. Pan Wang's 9 axes. After a while, the divine patterns disintegrated and turned into endless divine patterns and images. Su Junming, who browsed quickly, was excited. What a great opportunity! He finally understood why his axe was not as powerful as the axe of Pangu. In addition to the differences in cultivation and magical weapons, there are also differences in martial arts. Suddenly, a violent wind came out. Just as he was inspecting Pan Huang's 9 axes, the giant monster spurted out an even bigger ball, completely made of rich death energy. He quickly put the giant shield in front of him. Boom! There was a huge earthquake in the clear sky, and a fierce and unstoppable force came rolling in. Even with the tyranny of Pangu's true body, he could not help but be pushed back tens of thousands of feet by this huge force. Stabilize your body, allocate your attention to comprehend Panhuang's 9 axes, and at the same time activate the Dian Divine Mirror to assist your understanding. As time passed, the fight became more and more intense. It's done. Staring hundreds of millions of feet away, shrouded in the air of death, the infinitely large tentacles swayed like a tide, and the imposing chaos monster was overwhelming. It's time to understand. With a thought in his heart, the Dian Divine Mirror shone with light, and soon turned into a huge yin-yang Tai Chi diagram. Its aura was as obscure and powerful as the original version. The Taoist diagram turned into a stream of light and merged into the giant axe, with a yin-yang diagram appearing at the end of the axe handle. The giant axe in his right hand is held high. Recalling the content of the first axe of Panhuang's 9 axes that he had comprehended. Jean Dao, meet me. A sudden slash. Swish, 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 9 axe beams in a row turned into a shoulder, like a billion-foot-long lightning, and slashed straight towards the chaos giant monster. The extremely powerful aura shook the void. The dazzling light illuminated the entire space. The chaos giant monster is not a fool, so he can naturally see that this axe is far more powerful than before. He quickly moved the black bricks in front of him, and at the same time, a huge black flag lifted up from the huge head, and the giant flag was wrapped with powerful death energy. Obviously, this is the treasure that the monster has at the bottom of the box. This guy is really cunning. The giant black flag turned into a barrier of death energy, blocking the 9 axe lights and all paths forward. Coupled with the black tiles, it provides double protection. If Su Junming's giant axe remained the same as before, he would definitely be defeated by this powerful protection. But how could great god Pangu's martial arts be ordinary? Shua. The 9 axe lights separated suddenly merged into one. And instead of expanding, it became more condensed. Just when it hit the black light screen again, it suddenly disappeared with strong spatial fluctuations. The chaos giant monster was shocked. Before he could figure it out, the extremely condensed axe light had already reached the top of his head. Roar! The scream of terror shook hundreds of millions of miles. But it died out in a very short period of time. The huge tentacles floating in the void, varying in length and thickness, with teeth and claws, seemed to have lost their support at the same time and fell suddenly. The extremely condensed death energy also lost its restraint, and suddenly flew away like an exploding cloud. A huge black flag quickly shrunk, and its spiritual light floated dimly in the air. The black bricks, which were larger than the ancient giant mountains, also became 3 feet in size and became motionless. The exposed, huge and extremely ugly monster head had been completely chopped in half. There is no trace of blood in the rotten flesh formed by the dead energy. But its soul has been completely destroyed by the overbearing evil energy in the light of the axe. Chaos gods and demons all have the ability to be reborn with a drop of blood, but when Pangu used the Panhuang 9 axes to kill 3,000 chaos gods and demons, it can directly kill all the souls integrated into your blood. The same was true when Dong Huang Tai killed the 12 ancestral witches. Without the soul, rebirth through blood would become a joke. After heaving a sigh of relief, Su Junming did not immediately go to collect his trophies. Instead, he closed his eyes and sat cross-legged, savoring the feeling of just activating the first of Panhuang's 9 axes, kill the way to see me. Jean Dao Simi is not only martial arts, but also the use of space Dao. Su Junming himself had already comprehended the Dao of space to the realm of Hunyuan True Immortal, which was why he was able to use this axe freely. In addition, the remaining 8 axes of Panhuang's 9 axes, like the first axe, are not pure martial arts, but a fusion of various ways. Feeling the principles carefully, they are actually consistent with the laws mastered by the 12 ancestral witches of the witch clan. Space, time, 5 elements, thunder and lightning, wind path, ice, and poison path. Except for the first axe, cut the Deo to Simi, which is fused with the space path, and the second axe, destroy all living beings, which is fused with the time path. Only one axe is fused, and the remaining 7 axes are all fused with several avenues. It is already great to cultivate one path alone in the ancient world, let alone cultivate 12 paths together. I'm afraid this is also the reason why the Panhuang 9 axes have never appeared. However, for others, the supreme martial arts is just out of reach, but for Su Junming, it is like a treasure. Although the Taoism he majored in was different from Panhuang Taoism. But as long as you know the path, it is not difficult to integrate the 12 Dharma you practice into it. What's more, he also has Dian Divine Mirror to help him. Staring at the young monk sitting cross-legged in mid-air, the green light in his eyes dissipated. The old man wearing a bamboo hat and holding a fishing rod walked out of the shadows. Looking at the completely dead chaos monster again, there was a look of disbelief on his face. Back then, he was also a master at the peak of Hunyuan True Immortal, and he broke into this place from the outside. But under the powerful physical blow of the giant monster, he was defeated and turned into a puppet by the opponent. Over the past billions of years, he has seen hundreds of gods and demons break into this place, many of them beings at the Hunyuan Xianxian level, but all of them were killed and devoured by giant monsters. The thought of escaping also faded. If you can work as a janitor here safely, you can at least survive. Now, he never thought that the guy who looked like nothing more than a Hunyuan celestial immortal could actually have such tyrannical methods under his weak appearance. Can kill the powerful and despairing giant monster. His eyes swept over the bricks and long black flags floating in the air, and a trace of greed emerged from the bottom of his heart. He saw that the young man was still meditating. With a wave of the fishing rod, the whole person disappeared instantly, a shadow rolled up her bao, and flew out of the center of the earth like lightning. Su Junming turned around, opened his eyes, looked at it, and paid no more attention. Following the hole connecting the center of the earth, this huge chaotic rock, 1/10 the size of the ancient world, flew out and came outside. Feeling the familiar yet unfamiliar, violent chaotic aura, the old man was extremely excited. The Shadow Supreme, are back. Shadow Supreme, this name is quite vulgar. The clear voice made the old man's heart tremble. Who's there? Come out. The huge chaos in front suddenly trembled, as if a piece of heavy gauze had been removed. A huge black turtle with 2 heads appeared in front of the old man. Sitting on the milky white dragon head of the black turtle is a young monk wearing a navy blue robe, a green gourd hanging on his waist, and holding a bamboo staff. Seeing the other party's face, the old man was suddenly shocked. Without saying a word, he turned around and ran away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1056. Looking at the guy running away in front of him, calling himself the Shadow Supreme. Seeing that you are just a puppet, I intended to spare your life, but I didn't expect that you would be greedy and seek your own death. Tiangong, I leave it to you. A dull response sounded in Su Junming's heart. The next moment, the bronze-colored head, representing Tiangong Dao, opened its huge mouth, and a torrent of bronze-colored divine light, like a waterfall, broke through the obstruction of the billowing chaotic energy, and arrived behind the old man like lightning. The latter looked shocked and hurriedly waved his fishing rod, and a large shadow greeted him. It's a pity that these shadows are like a mantis using its arms as a chariot, and are instantly submerged. When the bamboo pole touched it, it instantly disintegrated and turned into the most primitive material. This divine light contains the great magical power of Tiangong Taoist Pao Ding Ji Niu. As long as anything is hit, it will become the original material. The old man who claimed to be the Shadow Supreme was shocked. Before he could beg for mercy, he was instantly overwhelmed by the divine light. The physical body was directly broken down into particles. Kukding Ji Niu can not only decompose materials, but also has a magical power with astonishing lethality. He reached out and made a move, and the bamboo pole, the old man's body, the black bricks and the death energy flag flew into his palm. The flesh and blood of a Hunyuan true immortal cannot be wasted. It will also be used in the future to worship the Dushan god demon banner. However, this guy's body has long been infected by the death energy and turned into a pile of zombie meat. If he wants to use it, he still needs to restore it through the method of returning to his origin. He picked up the bamboo stick and looked at it briefly. A perfectly good innate spiritual root that contains the way of greenwood is actually used to refine a spiritual treasure of the way of Sheyin. What a waste of resources! Not everyone has enough spiritual materials to refine treasures like you. This innate spiritual bamboo is stronger than fine steel, and the energy of greenwood does not conflict with the energy of Sheyin. It is also a good choice for refining natal spiritual treasures. The way of heaven is the way of humanity. Su Junming was immersed in the joy of having another top-quality innate spiritual root, but he didn't say much. Look at the black tile again. In fact, it is not a tile, but an inkstone. This inkstone is square in shape, with a smooth bottom and a concave top in the middle, exuding a quiet fragrance of ink. The position of the inkstone head is embossed with cloud patterns, and there is a line of mysterious text in the middle. It's a pity that Su Junming doesn't know him. But there are 12 Hunyuan restrictions in this inkstone. This is the sign of the top-notch Hunyuan Lingbao. This was the first time he encountered such a level of acquired Hunyuan Lingbao. No wonder the giant axe driven by Pangu's true body can't cut it. Carefully feel the inner restrictions, exuding the Taoist charm mixed with gold and earth. Extremely hard and strong without losing toughness. This is definitely not something from that big monster. Su Junming affirmed. The monster is full of death energy. This inkstone contains the way of gold and earth, so of course it cannot be its treasure. Moreover, that guy is extremely ferocious. He doesn't look like a leisurely person who can write and write. Tiangong Taoist said. Tiangong, how come you, like Renwuji, have learned to be sarcastic? This is true. Too lazy to pay attention to this guy, he finally looked at the giant banner of death energy. 48 restrictions, the most top-notch innate spiritual treasure, which contains a rich charm of the path of death. Apart from the Tai Chi diagram and the chaos clock, he has never seen the innate spiritual treasures restricted above them. Even if it is the Kinkan Ding, it is only equal to it. After immersing his spiritual consciousness and doing some ritual training, a line of divine patterns reflected into the sea of consciousness. Death flag of the underworld. It contains 3 innate magical powers. Dark demonic death ray, demonic canopy, and deathly air puppet. The former attacks, the middle defends, and the latter can use death energy to demonize monks and turn them into puppets that obey their orders. The chaotic gods and demons that Su Junming had experienced before, including the Banshee and the guy who claimed to be the Shadow Supreme, were all puppets of death. The way of death is a branch of the Devil's Way, and it is also an extremely difficult way to understand. The octopus-like chaotic beast was obviously a chaotic beast bred by the way of death. Moreover, this underworld demon death flag also comes with its accompanying innate spiritual treasure. This underworld demon is such a good opportunity, and it also has an accompanying treasure that is comparable to the Kinkan cauldron. In comparison, the black turtle is much worse off. Underworld demon. The figure of Tiangong Taoist rang in my heart. That's the big octopus. It has to have a name. It's up to you. But how do you know that the black turtle doesn't have the accompanying treasure? Maybe it was taken away by Hung Jun when it was killed. That's right. After a pause, let's go and see that big octopus. He reached out and pointed, and a huge space crack opened in front of his eyes. He formed a seal with his hands and clapped violently. Space compression. Tiangong Taoist's black turtle body shrank suddenly, flew into the cracks in space, and disappeared. The stone ball transformed from this chaotic boulder is too huge and hard. It is too difficult to break open, and it also seems to be a waste of natural resources. Fortunately, Su Junming's space method is mysterious. Although the black turtle is huge, it doesn't have to worry about getting in and out. Suddenly appeared in the vast underground space. With a thought in my heart, the past body formed by the passage of time returned to my original form. In an instant, countless memories flowed into my heart. Pan Wang's 9 axes. It is indeed a supreme combat skill. In addition to excitement, I just don't know if there will be a chance to get more skills from Pangu Yuanling in the future. Especially the 9 transformation mysterious skills. Being able to obtain the Panhuang 9 axes is already a blessing. As for the 9 transformations mysterious technique, the success rate of catching a Sanking disciple to search for the soul will be higher, Tiangong Taoist said. In one sentence, Su Junming calmed down from his excitement. Too lazy to pay attention to it, he made a seal with his right index finger, a little bit between his eyebrows. A series of light silver mist flew out from it. There are dots of stars in it, like stars. A 12-grade green lotus suddenly appeared in mid-air. The mist like a dragon and a snake quickly blends into the lotus. Once out, once back, it took a full quarter of an hour to end. It is finally over. Su Junming breathed a sigh of relief. These pale silver mist are all Pangu Yuanling. This time the 17 divine flags were formed at the same time, and there were particularly many Pangu Yuanling left behind. Putting away Qinglian, he looked at the still dead underworld demon in the distance. Reach out and make a move. A bright light green light flew out from the underworld demon's head. When it got closer, it turned into a huge, olive-shaped boulder that looked like light green crystal. You can almost feel the vast and tyrannical vitality in it, like a huge ocean without using your spiritual consciousness. There was a touch of fire in Su Junming's eyes. Yin and yang complement each other, and the extreme of death is life. There is also a treasure that contains such tyrannical vitality in the body of the underworld demon that contains endless death energy. The combination of yin and yang is the creation of nature. If it weren't for this treasure, this guy would not have life at all, let alone become a chaotic beast at the level of Hunyuan Xianxian. Before Tiangong Taoist finished speaking, the 2 dragon heads suddenly bit the green crystal stone. Before it could eat it, the food had disappeared. Hey, Lao Chi, I knew you would be dishonest. My dear, this thing is so full of vitality that you won't be able to use it. If you give it to me, it can repair all the hidden wounds on the black turtle's physical body and increase its strength to a higher level. There was a rare hint of anxiety in Taoist Tiangong's tone. Don't lie to me. I know best what your physical body is like now. It has been repaired after feeding so much creation spiritual energy. After 50 million years of cultivation, even if there are hidden wounds, they will have been repaired. If not, I won't come to practice in chaos. Furthermore, your physical body is strong enough and your magic power is powerful enough, but your Taoism is lagging far behind. You should think about how to master the 2 ways of creation and heaven as soon as possible and realize the perfection of Hunyuan Xianxian. As for your physical body, billions of years are enough for you to repair it, so why waste this precious life? You are really stingy, Tiangong Taoist complained. This is not stinginess, this is a reasonable distribution. Su Junming has already thought about using this treasure to practice martial arts. Lightning strikes, fires, wind blows, any harsh means that can exercise the physical body can be used with confidence and boldness. As long as the physical body is damaged, there is no need for pills. As long as the vitality in this vital spirit stone is used, the physical body can be repaired. In destruction and rebirth, the powerful efficiency of the physical body will inevitably increase exponentially. Without this stumbling block that slowed down the advancement of cultivation, he would be able to advance to the level of Hun Yuan true immortal with just one Yuan Hui. He put away this precious stone and stared at the chaotic beast in the distance where the death energy was condensed. This thing cannot be wasted. However, if you want to make full use of it and convert the death energy into spiritual energy, you must have a lot of treasures. Su Junming happened to have such a valuable treasure. With a finger, the Dian divine mirror slowly flew out. The universe is created by heaven and earth. The bronze mirror instantly turned into a Tai Chi diagram. With a wave of his right hand, Tai Chi too instantly came to the top of the underworld monster and turned into a giant beast hundreds of millions of feet tall. 17 rays of divine light followed closely behind, turning into gods and demons tens of millions of meters high. The gods and demons stood in a circle around the Tai Chi diagram. Su Junming changed his finger skills, and 17 black and white light pillars flew out of the Tai Chi diagram and fell into the hands of the gods and demons. Give an order. The 17 gods and demons roared angrily and pushed the light beam with all their strength. Boom, the Tai Chi diagram is like a huge black and white millstone, slowly spinning. The huge power of swallowing sucked in the billowing death air, ground it and turned it into pure spiritual energy, divided it into 17 strands, and was refined and absorbed by Dushan gods and demons. The tens of millions of gods and demons are pushing the Tai Chi diagram of tens of millions of feet and refining tens of trillions of gigantic chaotic beasts. This spectacular scene is simply eye-popping. Unfortunately, no one could see it except Su Junming and Taoist Tiangong. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1057. There are no jiazi in the mountains, and it is so cold that I don't know the year. During the years of cultivation, it is always easy for people to forget the passage of time. Before I knew it, a yuan hui had passed. In the prehistoric world, $1 lasted 129.6 million years. There are often 12 yuan hui in a century. After the Lich War, it was the most peaceful yuan hui in the world. In this yuan hui, the human race gradually grew stronger. Although it was not yet the overlord of the prehistoric era, it had initially assumed the identity of the protagonist of the prehistoric era. With the blessing of huge luck, talents, and strong men emerged in large numbers. Because under the leadership of Su Junming, the Buzhu Mountain people could not come without De Luo. Therefore, in the entire prehistoric period, the Huaxu clan, where Fuxi lived, became the largest clan of human beings. Coupled with the promotion of yellow rice, the spread of officialdom, and the change of customs, Fuxi's merits and virtues are remarkable and he is respected by hundreds of millions of people. The original Fuxi clan alliance merged into a new tribe, the Fuxi clan. The Fuxi clan, which dominates the fertile plains of Guangzhou for millions of miles, is at its peak. Coupled with the blessing of the Saint Nuwa behind him, Fuxi became more and more powerful after 1 yuan hui came down. In 1.5 yuan hui time, Fuxi, who had accumulated enough merits, issued an edict to summon all the leaders in the prehistoric era, with a population of more than 100 billion, and at the same time, most of the leaders, who were under the command of De Luo Jingxian, went to Huancaiyu. Obviously, he can't wait to sit on the throne of the emperor of the human race. Huancaiyu. After coming down from Yuanhui, this place is no longer what it used to be. There are simple stone houses all over the mountain. Instead, there are gorgeous palaces, exquisite sculptures, and deliberately stacked spring pools and rock eyries. In the middle, auspicious animals are flying, and spiritual energy turns into ribbons, surrounding the palaces and pavilions. It is no different from the Holy Land of the Heavenly Palace. A circle of tall spiritual trees separates Huancayo from the city outside. Beyond the spirit tree is the main city area. Although the tall attic and gorgeous manor are not as good as the main body of Huancayo, they are still rare and prosperous places. Obviously, the people who live here are either rich or wealthy. Further outward from the main city area, beyond a thick city wall, there are more and wider pavilions, and they are far more prosperous than the previous city area. 81 main streets, centered on the main body of Huancayo, radiating outwards, are packed with people and flow of people. This is the second-level main city, and it is also where wealthy people live. The outermost area is the outer city area, where the houses are visibly shabby. From the inside to the outside, the diameter of Huancayo City exceeds 300 billion miles. There are at least tens of millions of trillions of human beings living in this huge city. In the living room behind the Fuxi Hall on the top of Huancayo Mountain, Fuxi, wearing a gorgeous yellow robe and a jade crown, stands near the window. Staring at the huge city shrouded in mist and rain in the distance, an indescribable sense of satisfaction filled my heart. Although there were many references to the people of Buzhu Mountain in the construction of Huancayo City, there was no such a majestic city as Huancayo around Buzhu Mountain and under the jurisdiction of Chongshan. The taking sage of Renjiao has ordered Master Suandu, his only direct disciple, to attend the tribal meeting. The sage Chan Jiaoyuking has sent his eldest disciple Guangchenzi, and the sage of Intercept Changqing has ordered his eldest disciple Duobao Taoist to do it for him. The two sages of the West ordered their disciples Shiqi and Maitreya to come separately. Empress Nuwa decreed that she would come in person. If your brother becomes enlightened, of course your sister will be there in person to congratulate him. In addition, Immortal Zhen Yuan wrote back and said that he would come in person. There is still no news about Patriarch Kunpeng. Fuxi frowned slightly. During the Lich War, Kunpeng got Dijun's Hichuluashu, and later his sister forcibly borrowed it to help him become a Taoist. It would be normal for this relationship not to happen. The five holy clans, Qinglong, Suzaku, Suanwu, White Tiger, and Kailan, have all agreed to send their core clansmen to watch the ceremony. Ancestor Minghe, Grand Master Lazi, Patriarch Pan Wang, Taoist Jellyfish from Penglai Island, Queen Mother of the West, and Suan Jushin will all come to watch the ceremony in person. Is there any news from Chongshan Academy? Fuxi suddenly asked. There is no news yet. Fuxi nodded, and the young figure with a tall figure and a majestic bearing could not help but appear in his mind. A Yuanhui has passed, and there is little news from the other party in the prehistoric period. But since this Yuanhui period, he has never relaxed his concern for the human race in Buzhu Mountain area and Chongshan Academy. Although it is difficult to know everything because of the other party's deliberate protection. But just a glimpse of the leopard, the power contained in it is enough to shock people. This is a large sect that is not famous in ancient times, but has amazing strength. Compared with Renji Chan and Western religion, it just lacks the presence of saints. The high-level power of Deluo level, just what he knows, is no less than Fuxi's. What he doesn't know, there will only be more. Exactly how many there are, except for the 7 deacons of the inner sect of Chongshan Academy and the mysterious Lord Chongshan, probably few people know. As soon as there is news about Chongshan, remember to notify me immediately. Yes. Bai Yuan stared at the undulating mountains and rivers in the distance and sighed, I haven't been back for many years, and Bai's cave is already so huge. Next to him stood a handsome middle-aged man wearing a white robe, with long hair shawl. Bai's cave heaven has just advanced to the great thousand worlds. It is only mid-range among the 18 cave heavens. It is far worse than the 109 upper court cave heavens. The upper courtyard is supported by countless disciples from the main courtyard, and even has its ancestors sitting in charge. Of course it cannot be compared, Bai Yuan said. After the pluralism in the past, although the Buzhu Mountain area still maintained an area of 30 trillion miles, it did not continue to expand outwards. but using the cave seeds given by Su Junming to continuously add spiritual energy and open up the world, he has never stopped. 1.5 UN will come down, but there are already 156 worlds that span more than 1 trillion miles. There are even more medium thousand worlds, and there are more than hundreds of thousands of small thousand worlds. The combined area is equivalent to 1/3 of the Buzhu Mountain area. The ever-growing Dongtian world has opened up a new living space for more human races, and has also allowed the strength of Chongshan Academy to grow steadily. In 1.5 Yuan Hui time, there were nearly 300 monks in the Deluo Golden Immortal Realm, and nearly 1 million monks in the Deluo realm. With strong strength, relying on the great formation left by Su Junming, he has been able to repel 6 or 7 invading Hunyuan powers over the years. It firmly occupies the vast land of 300 trillion miles around Mount Buzhu. As long as it wasn't for the saints personally taking action, or those old monsters left over from ancient times, Chongshan Academy alone could secure Buzhu Mountain without the need for Su Junming. Bai Qingfeng turned his head. "You're not in Huancaiyu, why are you back?" 97 years later, Holy Emperor Fuxi will hold a meeting of all tribes of the human race in Huancaiyu and formally ascend the throne of the Emperor clan. He specially asked me to come back to deliver the message and invited the ancestors to watch the ceremony. Bai Qingfeng frowned. Ever since the people who went to Huancaiyu to teach the Eastern Barren people how to grow yellow rice before the Iwan meeting came back, the impression of the Fuxi clan in Chongshan Mountain was not very good. "You're unlucky to be here. What's wrong?" "The 7 deacons of the General Hospital have retired, and new deacons are being elected. At this time, it is related to the inheritance of Chongshan. The ancestor must keep an eye on it personally, and may not go to Huancaiyu." 7 deacons retired. Bai Yuanxing was stunned. Bai Zhangling, dating Zhang Shan, Feng Zhanjian, Shui Zhangyang, Ji Zhanjiao, Gongling Feng, and Ji Xuanyu were the first to be promoted to Deluo Jingxian in Chongshan General Academy. For nearly 200 million years, they have been in charge of the authority of the General Academy and dealt with Chongshan. Everything inside and outside the Shanzong Jiayuan is prestigious and almost never goes wrong. Bai Qingfen nodded. "Ancestors' order. Why? Did the 7 deacons make a big mistake?" "That's not true. The 7 deacons have advanced to Deluo Jingxian for many years. The founder asked them to step down in order to let them put aside worldly things, practice Taoism with peace of mind, and prepare for the advancement to Hunyuan." Bai Yuanxing was stunned, and then sighed. In the Hunyuan realm, apart from the founder, our Chongshan seems to have no disciple who has achieved Hunyuan. Our Chongshan Academy does not follow the method of killing corpses. If we want to achieve the realm of Hunyuan, it is more difficult than the Suanman sections unless we are absolutely sure. Who dares to be presumptuous? Bai Yuanxing nodded. There is only one life, and without complete assurance, no one will survive the great tribulation of Hunyuan. I bear the Holy Emperor's decree. No matter whether the Patriarch goes to Huancaiyu or not, my order will always be conveyed. Bai Qingfen glanced at him. "I can't go with you." "Why?" "The Bai family is going to choose the next clan leader, and I want to watch." Bai Yuanxing frowned. "You want to step back?" Is it also the order of the ancestor?" "No," I volunteered after a pause. "You know, I have no interest in power. If I hadn't been appointed by the old patriarch, I would not have become the 5th patriarch of the Bai family. Now the Bai family, in addition to the 3 generations of patriarchs and you and me, there is a new Deluo Jingxian among the young people. It's time for me to step down." As early as before the Iwan Hui, there was an unwritten rule among the 18 parts of Buzaoshan. The person who serves as the clan leader must be at the Deluo Golden Immortal Realm. The Bai clan is also one of the 18 major tribes. From the 2nd generation of the clan leader until now, Deluo Jingxian has been in charge of the tribe. Whenever a new generation of Deluo Jingxian appears, the old patriarch will step down and enter the Chongshan General Academy to practice. Even if there is no new generation, the Yiyuan Association must step down after the meeting. This is the rule set by Su Junming. If you hold power for a long time, you will be corrupted by power and lose the opportunity to advance to Hunyuan. Who is so powerful? Bai Yuanxing asked with great interest. You also know Bai Jingcheng and Bai Xuanjian. It is indeed these two people. Although Bai Yuanxing came back rarely, he still cared about his tribe. He often contacted Bai Qingfeng and heard about some geniuses in the tribe. There are really more and more talented people in the clan these years, and you, the clan leader, are indispensable. With more people, there will naturally be more talents. Bai Yuanxing nodded. Since the Liang Yuanhui, the Bai clan has been growing rapidly, and the number of outstanding descendants has naturally increased accordingly. It's a pity that you are still unwilling to return to the clan, otherwise I would even want to give you the position of clan leader. Bai Yuanxing smiled faintly and said, Holy Emperor Fuxi has shown me kindness, and I will not leave until he is promoted to emperor. It won't last more than 100 years, so there's no harm in waiting. Bai Yuanxing shook his head. No, over the years in Huancaiyu, I have had enough intrigues. When the Holy Emperor leaves, I will return to the main hospital for retreat. The Hunyuan realm is not your goal alone. After staying in Bai's cave for 7 days, Bai Yuanxing walked directly across the teleportation array and came to the Buzhu Mountain General Hospital. Looking down, the top of the huge Buzhu Mountain is already filled with row upon row of buildings. Students from the Tai realm can be seen everywhere, flying around in a hurry. As the population in the Buzhu Mountain area continues to grow, the number of Tai realm monks who come to the main academy to practice is also increasing. After nearly 2 Yuanhui, the number of Tai realm students on Buzhu Mountain has reached millions. The sect is becoming more and more prosperous. Bai Yuanxing sighed in his heart, and at the same time he felt a sense of pride. Although over the years, due to Kongshan's relationship, he has never held much power in Huancaiyu, for him, this is something to be thankful for. Spending more time practicing was also an important reason why he was able to advance to the Deluo Jingxian realm. As soon as he patted the jade talisman on his waist, a spiritual light flashed through, and a space channel appeared in mid-air. After passing through, a top-notch world with rich spiritual energy appeared in front of him. The aura is stronger than the last time I came back. In the past 2 decades, although the Chongshan Great World has been maintained at 99 trillion miles, it has not continued to expand. But the concentration of spiritual energy in the cave is always rising. And there is also the innate spiritual energy that has long since disappeared. Thanks to the superior environment here, most of the Deluo monks in Chongshan Academy, in addition to receiving their duties, need to sit in the middle courtyard and upper courtyard, practice here. After a moment of simple consciousness, he raised his escaping light and flew straight towards the 7 mysterious peaks in the sky, especially the central peak in the center of the 7 mysterious peaks. The central peak is where the sect's main hall is located and is also the real core of Chongshan Academy's governance. With the jade talisman of the sect, Bai Yuanxing can enter Chongshan Hall unimpeded. But as soon as he flew up to the central peak, a Taoist priest wearing a navy blue robe, a bun on his hair, and a stern expression was already stopping him there. Seeing the other party, Bai Yuanxing quickly bowed and saluted. I've met the co-deacon. Gong Lingfeng smiled and shook his head. I am no longer a deacon. Of course, this is not a big deal. I believe you will understand the whole story soon. The conversation changed. Bai Yuanxing. Bai Yuanxing's heart trembled slightly and he responded instinctively. The disciple is here. The patriarch asked me to wait for you again. He already knows about Huancaiyu. He will definitely be there before the Huancaiyu tribe conference begins. Bai Yuanxing felt happy that the task assigned to him by the Holy Emperor was finally completed. Together, Just as he was about to call the deacon, he remembered that the other party had resigned. "Master, do you know when the master will arrive?" The patriarch didn't say anything. But since he said he would definitely go a few days in advance. Bai Yuanxin nodded. Gong Lingfeng spread his left hand, and a blue and white porcelain bottle the size of an adult's fist flew towards Bai Yuanxin. Looking at the latter's stunned look. "There are 9 de Luo 3 emperor pills in it, which were given to you by the patriarch." Bai Yuanxin was happy and bowed towards the Chongshan Hall. "Thank you, patriarch. There's a lot going on today, only one big chapter. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes." Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1058. Boom. The mighty thunder, like angry dragons, flew down with a shocking roar. In mid-air, a young man wearing a blue robe, with a sky blue bead on his head, appeared in infinite space with his hand, and the thunder was taken away before he could get close. After the 99 and 81 thunder tribulations, there is the inner demon tribulation. Compared with ordinary monks who are afraid of inner demon tribulation, his expression is calm. And after the evil spirit comes, it passes quickly. The calamity energy turned into the energy of creation and came flying forward. The other party's momentum was clearly visible to the naked eye. It took a long time to stabilize. The young man took a step forward, and in a flash he came to kneel down next to Su Junming. "Disciple Yang Mei, pay homage to my mentor." Looking at the handsome young man in front of him who is wearing a green bamboo leaf robe and a sky-green ruyi crown on his head, he sighed in his heart. He also didn't expect that Yang Mei would transform into a Hunyuan celestial immortal after staying in the 9-colored divine stone for a half-UN meeting. As expected, he is worthy of being an ancient power. Even if he is reincarnated and recultivated, he is extraordinary. The right hand is empty. "Get up." Yang Mei stood up. Su Junming reached out and pointed, and the chaotic energy flew around and turned into a futon. "Sit." "Thank you, mentor." With a wave of his hand, the shadow of a bronze mirror merged into Yang Mei's body. A hill covered with clouds, a red gourd, and a green bamboo staff fell into his hands. Yang Mei was instantly excited. Although he was born from the 9-color divine stone and experienced the mystery of the womb under the rules of reincarnation, many memories of his previous life are still clear. Giving these things to him means that the teacher truly treats him as his direct disciple. "From today on, you are my founding disciple in this world." The Dian divine mirror can take him and Chi Po's true body back to their original time and space, but the disciples may not be able to do so. Therefore, there is no need to arrange Yang Mei with Qin Zhong and Su Huang. If one day, Su Junming can transcend time and space, it will not be too late to bring them together. Disciples must practice hard and lose the kindness of their teachers. Su Junming smiled and nodded. He is proficient in the way of the soul. After coming down from Yuanhui, he has already understood the realm of Hunyuan true immortal. Therefore, he could clearly sense whether Yang Mei's words were true or false. He stretched out his hand, and a stream of light flew from a distance, came to Su Junming's palm, and turned into a small willow tree. The moment he saw it, his soul throbbed, and he instantly understood the identity of the other party. "Hollow willow." Looking at his expression, Su Junming waved his hand casually. "This treasure belongs to you. I will return it to you today." Yang Mei hurriedly said, "This treasure already belongs to the teacher. This disciple will never dare to ask for it. Please ask the teacher to take it back." Seeing his panic, Su Junming waved his hand. "You're welcome. Although this treasure is good, I can no longer use it." This is not his humble statement. Although the hollow willow is the best innate spiritual root of the space system, it neither flowers nor bears fruit, so it cannot be used to make elixirs. Far less practical than Huang Zhongli. As for refining weapons, With his current great magical power of creating something out of nothing in the creation path, he can completely create spiritual materials that are more suitable for refining space magic weapons. As for the spatial principles contained in the hollow willow, he had already engraved it in his mind, and all that was left was realization. Rather than keeping it in his hands, it is better to give it back to Yang Mei to strengthen his strength. When he leaves in the future, with Yang Mei's ability, he can also protect Chongshan Academy and continue to stand on the top of the ancient world. Teacher. He waved his hand to interrupt him. Now that you and I are masters and disciples, we are connected by fate. We should help each other and climb to the top of the road as soon as possible without being like little girls. Looking at the teacher's deep gaze, Yang Mei's heart was filled with excitement. She raised her hands above her head and respectfully took the hollow willow. Disciples will not let their teacher down. They should be sincere and upright, practice hard, and strengthen the Chongshan section. Su Junming smiled and nodded. You have just made a breakthrough in cultivation, so practice hard here, stabilize your cultivation, and strive to return to your peak cultivation level as soon as possible. Yes. Seeing that he was about to leave, Yang Mei said quickly. Teacher, about the reason why my predecessor died. You don't have to tell me now. He waved his hand. My current cultivation level is only in the late stage of Hunyuan Celestial Immortal, and I am still far away from Hunyuan Golden Immortal. Knowing this will only become a mental obstacle and have no intention of practicing. The teacher is wise. After smiling and nodding, I will ask you when I want to know. With a step, the figure slowly disappeared. Getting off the huge tortoise back of Taoist Tiangong, an extremely majestic figure appeared in front of him. 17 huge gods and demons with a height of 70 million feet are taking long strides to push a huge yin-yang Tai Chi diagram. Every time this Tai Chi diagram rotates, the infinite dead energy below is extracted, and then turned into pure spiritual energy, which is absorbed and refined by the 17 gods and demons. The netherworld monster, which was once huge, larger than Buzhu Mountain and shaped like an octopus, now only has its core head left. The remaining parts have been ground and transformed into spiritual energy, which has become the nourishment for the growth of Dushan gods and demons. After a Yuanhui, the 17 gods and demons have advanced to Hunyuan Xianxian, although it is only in the early stage. But the strength has indeed undergone earth-shaking changes. A chaotic behemoth whose strength has reached the level of Hunyuan Xianxian is really full of nutrients. When the entire head is digested, they can go one step further. By then, even without the power of heaven and earth in the prehistoric world, using them to form a great formation of gods and demons will be as powerful as an ordinary Hunyuan Golden Immortal. The standard for ordinary Hunyuan Golden Immortal is Zunti Saint. This king is the weakest among the 7 saints. However, the head is the strongest part of the underworld monster, and it will take 1 or 2 Yuanhui to fully digest it. After a brief look, he activated the escape light to fly out of the huge underground space. Boom! The roar was earth-shattering, and the surrounding chaotic spiritual energy seemed to be crushed, sweeping hundreds of millions of miles around. Even because the power was too great, the violent chaos energy turned into small worlds, but before they could be completely formed, they were destroyed by the violent chaos energy. The next moment, the whole process is repeated again. A 3 trillion foot tall sky-holding giant, with his upper body naked, and his powerful arms pushing a chaotic boulder nearly 100 times larger than his own body. The chaotic boulder containing a huge space is unimaginably heavy. Although Su Junming's body is huge, he is not much stronger than the earthworm in front of this chaotic boulder. So every time I push, it feels like I have exhausted my last strength. Hey! Exhale loudly. The force was exerted on the feet, and the calves and thighs instantly expanded in a circle. The tyrannical force was transmitted to the arms through the waist and back. Hot chi and blood spurt out from every pore all over the body. It is so tyrannical that even the aura of chaos cannot be extinguished. When the body is tilted at 45 degrees, every bit of strength is extremely valuable. Boom! The Chaos God Stone rolled. The infinite chaotic energy was crushed by the unimaginable weight after being rolled over by the divine stone. In an instant, the turbid air sank and became the earth, while the clear air rose and became the sky. A Zhongqian world takes shape in an instant. The next moment, the chaotic energy of the light explosion returned, grinding the newly born world to pieces. Sensing the movement, Su Junming breathed a sigh of relief and stood up straight. Bring your past body into your true body. At the same time, the tyrannical qi and blood slowly converged, and the violent chaos qi was like an infinite giant wave, hitting the body heavily with a sound like a muffled drum, but it was difficult to shake it at all. After absorbing the great magical power of Dharma, heaven, elephant, and earth, his body became 30 million feet in size. A light green, emerald green stone containing endless upgrades flew out from the gourd at his waist. Light green life spreads out, and the physical injuries are quickly repaired. A feeling of full strength rose from the bottom of my heart again, and it was stronger than last time. Su Junming couldn't help but show a look of satisfaction on his face. This feeling of being able to clearly experience the progress of cultivation every moment is really intoxicating. It's a pity that this sacred stone is almost used up. Looking at the palm, there was only a stone more than 7,000 feet in size, and sighed secretly. He has used up nearly a quarter of the time spent at the 1 UN meeting. This is a divine object produced by a chaotic behemoth at the perfect level of Hunyuan Xianxian. The vitality inside is as vast as a sea of smoke. In comparison, Su Junming is just a Hunyuan celestial immortal. Too bad. Of course, it consumes a lot, and the effect is also extremely huge. The physical body that originally entered the realm the slowest, the time of Yaiwanhui is close to the completion of Hunyuan celestial immortal. If it hadn't been for the magic force that held him back, he could have expected to reach the realm of Hunyuan true immortal now. All memories of the past come back. Tribal meeting? Is Fuxi going to ascend the throne of the emperor? Anyway, after practicing for such a long time, although the body is fine, the spirit is a little tired after all. Let's take a trip. Quan should relax, and just experience the ancient times. Mighty ones. Thinking of this, he put away his Dharma body and flew into the chaos boulder. With one move of his hand, he transformed into the Tai Chi diagram's Dian divine mirror, and the 17 Tushan god demon flags merged into the Dharma body. This time I went to face all Hunyuan and even saints. In case of a conflict, you must have the treasure at the bottom of the box. The remaining heads of the underworld demon remain here for the time being and cannot escape. He activated the sealing talisman and sealed the life force, then turned around to look. The huge two-headed black turtle above is still sleeping soundly. The huge snake tail was suspended in mid-air. The two dragon heads, which were comparable to ancient giant mountains, had their eyes closed tightly and snored like thunder. A gigantic 10-grade green lotus floats above the milky white dragon head. The endless energy of chaos was absorbed and refined by Dragon Turtle and Qinglian. Tiangong, I will go to Honghuang to attend the Fuxi clan meeting, and I will leave this place to you. New. During the time of the Yaiwanhui, Tiangong Taoist had already comprehended Tiangong Tao to the realm of Hunyuan Xianxian, and the Tao of creation was only the last step. In a maximum of tens of millions of years, you can prepare to survive the Hunyuan Thunder Tribulation, and you will become a Hunyuan Xianxian if you can pass it. At that time, the soul and body will truly merge, and the great power of the chaotic giant beast and black turtle will be fully unleashed. Taking a last look at this hidden place deep in the chaos, Su Junming activated the space talisman to connect with the teleportation formation in the ancient world. After a vast divine light, Su Junming's figure disappeared instantly. Thanks to the book friend 201706021601185855 for the reward of 100 starting coins. Thank you very much. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1059. Zhang Shinian, I have returned my life to you. If you still don't get out of the way, don't blame me for being rude. Wearing a colorful robe, with a vivid nine-tailed scorpion embroidered on his chest, the old man stared at 1,000 feet away with an unfriendly expression. He was wearing linen clothes, holding a wooden whip, and wearing a bamboo hat. His skin was dark, and he looked like a farmer. Xie Hong, your master and disciple have committed an unforgivable crime by killing 3 million people of the Yunji clan. Today I will avenge these innocent souls who died in your hands. Standing behind the old man, a middle-aged man who was also wearing colorful robes, tall and thin, and with a sinister expression whispered, Master, Qing Emperor Zhang Shinian must practice what he says, and he has always protected those ants. I'm afraid what happened today will be difficult to do well. Shut up, if you hadn't disobeyed me and were good at killing people and searching for souls, how would I have been targeted by this evil star? The young man curled his lips, and a trace of dissatisfaction flashed in his eyes. After searching for souls by himself, didn't most of them fall into his hands in the end? I thought I was some kind of good person. Zhang Shinian, I am under the gate of Wanda Cave in Baiman Mountain. The founder, King Pan, is one of the 3,000 guests of Zixiao Palace in ancient times, a powerful master of Hunyuan. Today, if you understand this, then let it go. If you insist on being my master and disciple, if you are against me, don't blame me, Bai Manchen Wanpaman, for not. Before he could finish saying you're welcome, Zhang Shinian, who had a cold look on his face, had already whipped him. In an instant, a gigantic blue whip, like a pillar holding the sky, swept across. The speed was so fast that the master and apprentice jumped. It's just a matter of paying off Xie Hong. With Deluo Jingxian's cultivation, even if something unexpected happens, he can quickly dodge it. But the disciple of Tai Golden Immortal behind him was in misery. The physical body was exploded by a whip, and the soul was shattered into powder by the tyrannical Aoki's magic power. Only a little bit of true spirit was left to return to the world. Xie Hong's expression changed drastically. Apparently he had not expected that Zhang Shinian, who was widely known in the southern Xinjiang cultivation world for his good reputation and profound merits and was respected as the Qing Emperor, would be so ruthless. Not daring to be negligent, with a thought in his heart, a golden-edged red flag with a nine-tailed scorpion embroidered in the middle soared into the sky from Baihui Point. As soon as the Dharma flag was waved, a thick red mist rolled in, like the Yangtze River, rushing straight towards Zhang Shinian. The latter took out a large yellow-brown flag and waved it violently. It was like a long neck sucking water, and it was swallowed up instantly. When he looked again, Xie Hong was already hundreds of thousands of feet away, flying frantically into the distance. Humph, want to run. As soon as he took a step forward, a willow leaf-shaped talisman on his waist flashed, and his figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he was already behind Xie Hong. Chu Whip stirred up a mighty cyan light, and when he waved it, the space spread out like water. Chu Huan was silent and came to the back of the other party's head in the blink of an eye. Xie Hong's face suddenly changed as he realized that there was wind in the back of his head. Without caring about anything else, he quickly activated his life goo. A 3-foot-sized giant scorpion with red body and 8 tails suddenly appeared behind him. Boom! Before the giant scorpion could activate its poisonous tail, it was already hit by Chu Whip and his brains exploded. Xie Hong's body was greatly shaken, and he suffered heavy injuries when his life goo died. Even so, he did not dare to look back at all. The Qing Emperor Zhang Shinian is a master of medicine and poison, and he is the best at restraining poisonous cultivators like him. Especially the Plague Emperor's road banner can be said to be the antidote to all poisons. He could only use 50% of his 100% ability, which was why he ran away in embarrassment. Damn it, I really didn't look at the almanac when I went out, how could I encounter this evil star? Xie Hong cursed wildly in his heart and almost used all his strength to suck the milk. He was sure that in the past 3 pluralist associations he had practiced, he had never flown so fast as at this moment. My heart was shaken, and a fatal sense of crisis rushed towards the spiritual platform crazily. The practice of 3 polysex has made Xie Hong very confident in his intuition. He hurriedly raised his natal spirit flag and held it behind him. Boom! Loud noise like thunder. I felt an overwhelming and astonishing power coming along the scorpion god flag. My chest and abdomen shook, and wow, a mouthful of reverse blood spurted out. Damn it, is this bastard really a chi practitioner? Before he could even finish his thoughts, he felt severe pain in his back, and a more powerful force erupted. With a scream, Xie Hong fell straight to the ground like a kite with its string broken. Zhang Shinian flicked the chu whip in his hand, and streaks of green wood divine light, like ropes of lightning, were grabbed towards Xie Hong below. The latter felt the crisis and his vicious nature broke out. His expression was stern and his tone was fierce. Zhang Shinian, today's affairs are by no means finished. While he was talking, a cicada the size of an adult's palm, with a sky blue body and several strange runes on its eyebrows, appeared above his head. Huh! The inexplicable sound made the 2 of them startled. Before they could recover. Certainly. A soft drink. Everything within a radius of thousands of miles seemed to be frozen instantly. Su Junming stretched out his hand and made Xie Hong fly over involuntarily. After taking off the small azure cicada on his head, he waved and threw him to Zhang Shinian. Since he is your enemy, it is up to you to decide. After regaining his freedom, Zhang Shinian used his magic power to support the sealed Xie Hong. He didn't remember to deal with it. He took 2 steps forward with excitement and fell to his knees. Disciple pays homage to his mentor. I haven't seen you for millions of years, and your cultivation has become even deeper. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. Even without the help of the Dian Divine Mirror, he could clearly feel the light of merit radiating from the depths of Zhang Shinian's soul. Yai Wanhui kills demons and teaches medicine, which has accumulated a lot of merit for him. However, Zhang Shinian did not break through Hunyuan. After the Yuyuan meeting came down, his cultivation level still stayed at Deluo Jingxian perfection. It's not that he doesn't want to break through, it's that he wants to practice King Mu Dao and Alchemy Dao at the same time, and understand these 2 Dao at the same time to the Hunyuan realm, and then seek a breakthrough. Otherwise, with his qualifications, Yai Wanhui would be enough to advance to Hunyuan Celestial Immortal. Disciples never dare to forget the teachings of their teacher, and never dare to slack off in practice. He held Zhang Shinian's left arm with his right hand and lifted him up. Come with me. Zhang Shinian nodded, waved the Emperor of Plague flag, put away Xie Hong, and followed Su Junming to Chongshan residence. Come to the backyard gazebo. After the master and apprentice took their seats. Have you had any doubts about your practice recently? Zhang Shinian was shocked and quickly asked the question that had been bothering him for a long time. Su Junming King Mu Dao benefited from the Dragon Emperor and is now in the realm of Hunyuan True Immortal. Alchemy benefited from Taoist Tiangong, and it has reached the realm of Hunyuan Xianxian. Zhang Shinian's doubts were easily solved, which greatly improved the latter's moral integrity. While he was enlightened, Su Junming looked at the small azure cicada in his palm with great interest. He had only heard of this thing before, but had never seen it before. Teacher, what kind of spiritual beast is the cicada? Zhang Shinian, who woke up from his enlightenment, asked curiously. In ancient times, in addition to spiritual beasts, there were also various spiritual insects in the world. Some powerful spiritual insects, even if they were encountered by Hunyuan masters, they had to stay away. Speaking of this, he couldn't help but think of the gold-eating ants he encountered in the chaotic boulder. If it was not him who entered there at the beginning, but a Hunyuan monk who became enlightened by the laws of water, fire, etc., he would definitely be eaten by gold-eating ants until no bones are left. Therefore, there are many chi practitioners, especially casual cultivators, who collect spiritual insects to defend themselves. Zhang Shinian nodded clearly. Casual cultivators are basically 3-0 cultivators, no treasure, no inheritance, and no elixir. Feeding spiritual insects is a relatively cost-effective means of protecting the road. Different spiritual insects have different powers and functions. Monks in ancient times summarized the top 9 types of spiritual insects. They are the time cicada, the sky green snake, the 6-winged golden silkworm, the 9-tailed earth scorpion, the multi-eyed golden centipede, the 3-legged golden toad, the 9-headed insect, the sword butterfly, and the blood-bearded mosquito. Each of these 9 types of spiritual insects has a power that is no less powerful than that of Hunyuan monks when they reach adulthood. The little green cicada in my hand is the time cicada, the first of the 9 ancient insects. It is a strange insect that is born with the way of time. Su Junming looked at the time cicada in his hand, which should have just hatched and was still not very powerful, with a touch of joy in his eyes. According to legend, the adult time cicada has the ability to change the flow of time and even transcend time. Naturally tyrannical. However, this kind of spiritual cicada is too rare. From the beginning to the present, the number of time cicadas that can be recorded is no more than 1 palm. In addition, the growth period of time cicada is extremely long, often requiring several or even dozens of Yuanhui's time. Things that are naturally powerful and rare are rare in number and slow to develop. This is also the normal law of heaven. There are gains and there are losses. Congratulations to the teacher for getting this spiritual insect. Su Junming smiled and nodded. After examining it for a moment, he handed it to Zhang Shinian. Look at his stunned look. Take it, this is your trophy. Teacher, this is not okay. He waved his hand to interrupt him. No need to say more. I don't need this as a teacher. As soon as his heart moved, a powerful time rhythm burst out. Although it was immediately withdrawn, it was enough for Zhang Shinian to clearly feel it. What a powerful time rhythm. My master's accomplishments in time will not be matched by this little guy even if he becomes an adult in the future. And I don't have the time to take care of it, so I will simply leave it to you. Thank you, teacher. Zhang Shinian is sincere. He is not a fool. Of course, it can be seen that this is a treasure given to him intentionally by the master. Otherwise, with the teacher's attainments in the time path, he can easily slow down the time ratio thousands of times, and it won't even take a Yuanhui to grow the time cicada. Have your medical notes been written? Zhang Shinian originally planned to spend thousands of years summing up his experience, and finally compile the knowledge given to him by his teacher into a book. But when he actually started practicing medicine and started learning alchemy, he realized that it was not easy to write the next medical book. The prehistoric era was so vast and there were so many kinds of vegetation that it took Zhang Shinian nearly half of Yuanhui's time just to sort out their medicinal properties. Not to mention the prescriptions that work with each other. A disciple has failed his teacher. Seeing his guilty look, Su Junming waved his hand. Haha, this matter is not easy. Even if I want to travel all over the world and compile all the herbs, medicines, and stones, a Yuanhui can't do it. I'm surprised that you persevered and achieved what you have achieved now. Teacher, don't worry. No matter how long it takes, I will do my best to write this medical book. Haha, this is my disciple. Thanks to the book friend the man under the ice for the 100 starting coin reward, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1060. Teacher, what should I do with this person? With a flick of the Plague Emperor's flag, Scorpion Hong flew out. You handle it yourself. Don't worry about Patriarch Pan Wang, you still have a teacher behind you. Zhang Shinian felt warm in his heart. In the past Yuan Hui, although there were not many opportunities for the master and apprentice to meet, his mentor often gave him elixirs and upgraded magical weapons through the power of space. Even when he encounters a problem that he can't solve, the teacher will come forward. Apart from his father, who had already died from the Great Luo heavenly tribulation, and his mother, who died of illness early, it was his master who was the best to him. Zhang Shinian waved the Plague Emperor flag and put it away again. With a flick of his hand, this divine flag, which had been refined into a low-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasure by Su Junming, was filled with the aura of plague and had corroded Xiehong into slag. This man killed countless people, had many evil deeds on his body, and died undeservedly. A month later, I will be invited to Wanqiu to attend the grand ceremony of Fuxi's ascension to the Emperor's clan. If you have nothing to do, you can come with me. There will be countless capable people and there will be many Hunyuan cultivators. It will also open your eyes. Disciple, obey. You're going to fight Fang Xie, go down and have a good rest first. After Zhang Shinian bowed, he turned and walked out. He also has a temporary residence at Kixuanya outside Chongshan residence. After watching him leave, Su Junming took a step forward and arrived at the Creation Spirit Island. After the Hollow Willow was handed over to Yang Mei, the top quality innate spiritual roots here still include Huang Zongli, innate Polygonum multiflorum, and the Azure Immortal Bamboo obtained after killing the Shadow Supreme before Yuan Hui. In a plural society, supported by sufficient chaotic spiritual energy, Huang Zhongli has grown to 1,000,000 feet. The huge canopy covers hundreds of miles, and the pavilions are like a canopy, blooming with infinite blue and green divine light. Among the fluffy tree crowns, crystal-colored plums, 100 feet in size, hang on the branches, radiating with spiritual light, entwined with colorful ribbons transformed from spiritual energy, and are extremely beautiful. Feeling the increasingly rich power of time on the plums, Su Junming couldn't help but look forward to it. Almost mature. He really wanted to taste the mystery of this yellow plum fruit. I walked around the Huangzhong plum several times and looked at each of the 3,000 plums several times before I left with satisfaction. Innate Polygonum multiflorum, as an elixir, although not as tall as Huang Zhongli, has become a top-quality elixir with vines covering thousands of miles and tens of thousands of feet high when a multidimensional meeting comes and is supported by sufficient chaotic spiritual energy. Children and grandchildren of all sizes also appeared around. Although it is only a day after tomorrow, it is still very effective. Then there is the Azure Fairy Bamboo, which is like a jade pillar supporting the sky, tens of thousands of feet high, and the green bamboo leaves are tens of thousands of feet long, like a big mountain. The liquefied spiritual energy turned into dew and dripped down, like a flash flood, scaring the few grass and wood elves playing on the bamboo leaves into flight. As the spiritual energy skyrocketed, many herbs became elves. Compared with flying insects and beasts, the plant elves were gentle and simple in character. They were naturally good at Aoki Changsheng and knew that they were the most suitable gardeners. On Su Junming's Creation Fairy Island and Creation Spirit Island, there are hundreds of thousands of plant elves, who work hard to spray water, eliminate insects, and pick the elixirs to ensure the growth of elixirs. Master. Several grass and tree elves who were responsible for taking care of the Azure Immortal Bamboo and had reached the Tai realm flew over. Everyone go about your business, I'm just taking a look. After several plant elves nodded, they bowed and flew away. Su Junming stood with his hands behind his back and circled around the Azure Immortal Bamboo. The rich spiritual energy of the green wood was refreshing. At the heel of the immortal bamboo, 3 bamboo shoots that look like jade carvings greedily absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. The big one is 3 feet tall, and the two smaller ones are about 1 foot tall. Grows up really slowly. The largest of the 3 bamboo shoots has been around for millions of years. Now it is only 3 feet in size. However, Sujun was too clear-minded to think that this was a disadvantage. The slower it grows, the stronger the power of the azure immortal bamboo is. I don't know where the Shadow Supreme comes from. The strength of this bamboo is second only to the yellow plum and the hollow willow, and it is much stronger than the innate Polygonum multiflorum. With one step, he arrived in the quiet room in an instant. Sitting cross-legged, half an acre of Qingyun is exposed 3 feet above the head. 12 colored lights such as black, white, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple are circling up and down, and 3 12-pin lotus flowers are in full bloom. A gourd vine is supported on a lotus stand in the middle. Among the lush branches and leaves, there are 12 small gourds, among which the bronze and milky white gourds are the largest. The vines at the top of the gourd vine are intertwined with each other and form a platform. On top of it is a pale green bronze mirror with restrained light. Although the mirror surface is dull, there is an earth-shattering power hidden in it. On the lotus platform on the left, there is a sheathed long sword with a sharp breath, a fist-sized bead with magical light, a bagua disc with a blue light flashing in the center, a black pennant and a long black flag, according to the 5 elements. Wavering. It is the Pangu sword, Illusion God Ball, Tianji God Ball, Xianyuan Water Control Flag and Underworld Demon Death Banner that Su Junming often uses. The lotus on the right is not that complicated. 17 flags of different colors, bearing the banners of gods and demons, gathered together. The powerful aura is overwhelming in all directions. The Dushan God Demon banner has surpassed the 12 Dushan God Demon formation of the Wu clan in ancient times. The real treasure at the bottom of the box is in Su Junming's hand. This is also the basis for him to stand in the ancient world and compete with the saints. With a thought in his heart, the purple seal gourd on the gourd vine spurted out a little spiritual light. The soul gourd quickly took it in. The spiritual consciousness was immersed, and the soul energy was coiled in the aura, turning into an extremely ugly shadow with an iron-green fat body, a woman's face in the center of the chest and abdomen, thousands of eyes around it, and no head. This was the soul that he collected after killing the female monster in the Chaos Boulder. Over the years, due to insufficient cultivation of the soul, I have been determined to search for the soul and explore the secrets in the depths of chaos. I am afraid that I will fail in the end, so I have been sealed in the seal gourd. Later, Yai Wanhui practiced hard, and although the way of the soul broke through the Hunyuan Xianxian. But I have been busy with body training and have no other focus, so I have been delayed. Now that we can return to Honghuang, we still have more than a month, so there is no need to rush to Huangkaiu. I just happened to be busy with this while I was free. Moreover, this female monster's soul is weaker than that of the Shadow Supreme, so she is suitable for searching for souls. Take a deep breath to calm down the unnecessary thoughts in your heart. Although the spirit of this female monster has been weakened by her for hundreds of millions of years and has become extremely weak, soul searching is an extremely dangerous matter. Even Su Junming himself does not dare to be careless in the slightest. Forming a seal with both hands, an invisible big hand suddenly penetrated the female monster's spirit. Ah! Along with the shrill screams, powerful resistance was transmitted. Fortunately, Su Junming's way of the soul has entered the Hunyuan true immortal, otherwise he still wouldn't be able to hold it. After suppressing the female monster's resistance, scenes began to appear in his mind. After thoroughly searching the soul, a look of disappointment appeared on his face. This female monster's name is Zhu Li. She is a monster born from death. She is born from the same source as the underworld monster and is similar to a parasite. He is born with the ability to master the art of love, and the thousands of eyes on his chest and abdomen can shoot out the divine light of separation and union, which is very powerful. But unfortunately, because he was born next to the underworld monster, Su Junming did not have the memory of the depths of chaos that Su Junming needed. After activating the Divine Soul Gourd and directly refining the monster called Zhu Li, he moved in his heart and brought the soul of the Shadow Supreme over. It was as if he was aware of Su Junming's presence. The soul in the seal struggled crazily, and the shaking seal shone brightly. I know you are nearby, please let me go. I know the location of a great master's tomb. I can take you there. There are many treasures there. My azure immortal bamboo, the true name inkstone of the underworld troll, they all come from there. And we are only going to the periphery. There must be more precious treasures in the center, and I can take you there. Su Junming's heart moved. When he was fighting with the underworld giant monster, he personally experienced the power of the true name inkstone, the 12 Hunyuan restrictions, the top Hunyuan Lingbao, and even the Pangu divine axe that he refined himself could not cut. It can be seen that it's tyrannical. Moreover, until now, he has not figured out what the spiritual material used to refine the true name inkstone is. Now this treasure is in the hands of Tiangong Taoist. With his strength and the protection of his true name, even a saint can compete with him. Chaos is not prehistoric after all. Without the blessing of the power of the world, the strength of the saint is just that, far less than the real Hunyuan golden immortal. Is everything you said true? Su Junming's voice echoed in Shadow Supreme's ears. Of course, I swear to Dao Dao that I will never lie. The great master you are talking about is. The Shadow Supreme said quickly, above Hunyuan is called Hongmeng. There are 4 realms, namely the realms of Shangzun, Great Zun, Supreme, and Tianzun. I heard this. There was a boom in Su Junming's heart, as if countless thunders had exploded. Although he had guessed that there was a more powerful realm above Hunyuan when he met Yang Mei, when it was actually confirmed, it was already a bit unbelievable. There is indeed a stronger existence in the vast chaos. Take a deep breath and calm down. So you are also Hongmeng Supreme? This, of course not. Feeling the fluctuations of the Shadow Supreme Soul, Su Junming could more or less guess it. When he announced this name in the first place, it was probably to scare him. Who knew that Su Junming was just a native of the prehistoric world and didn't know anything about the Hongmeng Supreme, so all his efforts had no effect at all. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1061. Chapter 1041, The Realm of Hongmeng. Do you know how to become Supreme Hongmeng? I'm not very clear about this. Back then, I accidentally entered the resting place of the great master Hongmeng in the chaos. From some books he left behind, I learned that there is a higher realm above the chaos. As for the method of achieving this realm, I'm not very clear either. Feeling the vibrations of the other person's soul doesn't feel like lying. At this moment, he suddenly thought of Pangu. This man killed 3,000 chaotic gods and demons and opened up the existence of the Pangu world. His cultivation level has undoubtedly reached the limit of Hunyuan Golden Immortal. Su Junming, who has seen the memory of Pangu Yuanling, is convinced of this. The chaos gods and demons he killed were too powerful. Tiangong Taoist's original body, Black Turtle, ranked only in the middle range among the 3,000 chaos gods and demons killed by Pangu. Such a powerful Pangu must have his purpose in choosing to open up the world. What Su Junming could imagine, and what he had to risk his life to fight for, could only be a higher level of Hongmeng realm. Does it take opening up a world to advance to the realm of Hongmeng? He was just guessing, but this should be just one of the methods. Inexplicably, he became deeply interested in the resting place of the Great One mentioned by the Shadow Supreme. There must be everything he wants to know about the Hongmeng realm. It was as if he had guessed his thoughts. I know the address of the Great Master's resting place, and I can take you there. There must be a path to achieve the realm of Hongmeng. Su Junming did not answer, but his heart moved, and countless words appeared in front of the Shadow Supreme. Do you know the meaning of these divine patterns? Of course. But you have to swear to the road first and let me live before I tell you. A weak fluctuation of soul was clearly transmitted into Su Junming's heart. Lying. Okay, I promise you. The road is high, I swear. Just when the Shadow Supreme was paying attention to the oath, a violent force suddenly penetrated his soul. The latter screamed and struggled instinctively. As a result, a bell sounded in his ears, and the struggle instantly weakened. Countless pictures appeared in front of Su Junming's eyes. The growth experience of Shadow Supreme was quickly skipped. Soon, an extremely grand picture appeared in front of us. Endless chaotic boulders, rotating at an astonishing speed around a huge black hole. Su Junming has never seen so many chaotic boulders. 10 is 10, 10 10 is 100, 10 100 is 1000, 10,000 is 10,000, 100,000 is billion, 1 billion is trillion, 10 trillion is capital, 10 capital is Gai, 10 Gai is Zi, 10 Zi is Rang, 10 ditches are ditches, 10 ditches are streams, 10 streams are Zheng, and 10 Zheng are Zhe. But he felt that the number of chaos divine stones here exceeded 10 years, or even more. The densely packed chaos divine stones are like layers of shields, protecting the huge black hole in the middle. In addition to the quantity, what is even more astonishing is the speed. Without unique magical powers and magic weapons, even if Tiangong Taoist passes by, he will be smashed into pulp by the endless chaos divine stone. In addition to the chaos divine stone, the black hole at the core is also astonishingly huge. That kind of feeling, thousands of prehistoric worlds have still passed, and it is less than 1/10 of it. The Shadow Supreme failed in his struggle for luck in this world and had no choice but to leave the chaos. Later, by chance, he obtained the azure immortal bamboo and was hunted down, so he hid here in desperation. He is proficient in the ways of shadows and has amazing speed. At least he was not crushed to death by the Chaos Divine Stone. However, there were too many Chaos Divine Stones here. He could try his best to dodge them a few times, but he couldn't dodge them endlessly, even for a moment. What happened next can only be said to be his luck. Just when he could no longer hold on, the huge amount of Chaos Divine Stones orbiting the black hole suddenly stopped. Just when he was overjoyed and ready to escape, he found many monks with powerful auras and extraordinary experience judging from their clothing, passing through the Chaos Divine Stone and escaping into the black hole. He was also a smart man and followed quietly. Really? Deep in that black hole, there is a huge fairy palace. The words on the plaque in the Immortal Palace are the same as the divine patterns that Su Junming wants to understand. It's a pity that Shadow Supreme doesn't know him either. Being hunted down, he was frightened and did not cooperate with anyone. Following the people who were obviously casual cultivators, he quietly flew in. The space inside is extremely huge, with countless palaces and palaces, carved beams and painted buildings, and is extremely gorgeous. He was self-aware and did not dare to set foot in the palaces in the center of the Immortal Palace that were obviously taller and more gorgeous with more powerful restrictions. Instead, he went directly to the side halls in the corners. This choice is smart. And very lucky. After opening a side hall, several extremely precious treasures were obtained, including the True Name Inkstone. Yes, the True Name Inkstone was originally the treasure of the Shadow Supreme. He originally planned to continue hunting for treasures, but unfortunately he met the enemy who was chasing him. In desperation, he ran away in a hurry. The enemies were anxious to find the treasure, but they didn't pursue it much. The Shadow Supreme took the treasure with him. After leaving here, he went deep into the chaos. He planned to refine the treasure and go back for revenge after his strength was improved to a higher level. However, this time he was in bad luck. The chaos boulder that was originally planned for retreat was the one where the Hades monster was hidden. Unlike Su Junming, he didn't have the Dian mirror to see through the reality, and he didn't have the Dushan Shensha formation to kill the opponent. After a great battle, they were directly suppressed by the underworld monster. The treasures obtained from the immortal mansion, including the true name Inkstone, became the trophies of the underworld monster. The latter originally wanted to eat him, but the Shadow Supreme used the clue to the fairy palace in the black hole to save his life. The azure immortal bamboo was left to the Shadow Supreme because its properties were incompatible with the death energy of the underworld beast. Of course, if this guy escapes, he will also be turned into a puppet by the monster of the underworld using his natal magical power. Although he retained his soul, he could no longer leave. Later, according to his guidance, the dark demon beast also went to the black hole. But the scene of billions of chaos divine stones surging like thunder and spreading endless chaos has long been restored there. In such a devastating scene, even the underworld beast, protected by a thick layer of chaos divine stone, would not dare to break through. I had to leave a mark in it before leaving this place. Prepare to come back when your cultivation level is higher. Then, the Shadow Supreme accompanied the dark demon beast through the infinite chaos, actively attracting the chaos gods and demons, allowing the dark demon beast to devour and refine it to increase its strength. They even jointly attacked some relatively weak Hunyuan worlds, but unfortunately they never succeeded. No one in the Hunyuan world who can gain a foothold in the outer chaos is weak. Then, they felt the gravity of the world again, and when they wanted to come over to catch the autumn wind, they met Su Junming. All memories came to an abrupt end again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1062. Examining the Shadow Supreme whose soul had been scattered by his violent search, his spirit had been scattered. The gourd of the soul is urged to roll, and the soul turns into nutrients, leaving only a little bit of the true spirit to return to the world. After carefully going through the memories of the Shadow Supreme, and making sure that he had not missed any valuable details, Su Junming opened his eyes. This soul search has yielded great results. Let him truly have a preliminary impression of the world deep in the chaos. Everything was as he expected. The vast world of chaos did not only give birth to the primitive world of prehistoric times. There are more than a dozen Hunyuan worlds that appear in the memory of the Shadow Supreme. Although it is not as good as the prehistoric world, chaos is vast, and there must be a world that is more powerful than the prehistoric world. Otherwise, there would not be the more powerful realm of Hongmeng. It's just that there is no useful information in the memory of the Shadow Supreme to confirm the existence of this world. Don't worry. When I advance further in my cultivation, I will go to the immortal mansion in the black hole to look for clues. To be sure, there is definitely something he wants in the black hole. As for the endless chaos boulders, he is proficient in space and time, so he can avoid them if he is careful. The only thing to worry about is the immortal mansion. There must be many restrictions in that place, and even a very powerful formation has been set up. Although he is proficient in Tiangong Dao, if the formation in that place is too sophisticated, he can only be disappointed. Opening his left palm, a pair of simple jade plates appeared in front of him. Opening it, characters that are very different from the divine patterns of the prehistoric world appear in front of you, complex and mysterious. Su Junming has been studying it for many years, but unfortunately he has no reference and has no clue. It's a pity that my soul Dao cultivation is not enough, otherwise I would definitely be able to get some clues from Ming Kang's soul. The soul of demon god Ming Kang has been sealed in the seal gourd. However, this king is not the Shadow Supreme. His cultivation has reached the perfection of Hunyuan Xianxian, and his soul is powerful. Unless Su Junming can realize the Hunyuan Xianxian with his soul, he will not dare to search for the soul rashly. Once he is unable to suppress Ming Kang's resistance, not only will he be injured, but once the latter self-destructs, he will be in vain. Put away the jade plate. Don't be in a hurry, there's still plenty of time. The Biman Mountains are 3 trillion miles in length and breadth, with barren mountains and harsh waters, and are filled with miasma all year round. Apart from snakes, insect poisons, and no sign of human beings can be seen. The main peak, Wanda Peak, stands tall and tall, like a sharp sword thrust into the sky. A ray of light came from afar and quickly disappeared into a cave in the center of 10,000 poison peaks. Passing through the winding cave, the scenery suddenly changes. A beautiful world appears in front of you. The rich spiritual energy is far better than the outside world. Obviously, this is also a blessed place. In the center of this world stand several magnificent stone palaces. The 3-character divine pattern of 10,000 Poison Palace is clearly written on the plaque in the middle. The light escaped straight into the main hall, and when he landed, he transformed into a middle-aged man wearing a black robe with an 8-figure red scorpion embroidered on his chest. Disciples yelling, "Please meet your mentor." 9 feet away in front, on an altar with a 9-tailed red scorpion in relief, sat an old man of 5 short stature, with long gray hair scattered behind his head, and a black wooden staff in his hand. Opening his eyes, 2 green rays of light passed across the sky. As if aware of this gaze, the scorpion spirit's body trembled with its head lowered, and its head lowered even further. Has anyone been caught? Return to my mentor, no. No. The tone was trembling, showing fear. No. An invisible evil spirit spread instantly. The huge momentum caused the scorpion spirit to kneel to the ground. Teacher wrong, the disciple held the spiritual talisman given by you and chased him to the vicinity of Danyang Mountain in the southern wilderness. Then he completely lost the clues of the third junior brother. The disciple tried several times but found nothing. Later, he searched around Danyang Mountain. After searching for hundreds of millions of miles, I still couldn't find any clues about the third junior brother. I had no choice but to come back to the teacher to report my life. As soon as he finished speaking, Xie Ling was frightened and suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head. He yelled and fell to the ground. Covering his head, screaming, and rolling on the ground. "Master, have mercy on me, have mercy on me." After a quarter of an hour, the coldness on the old man's face subsided slightly before he released the seal. The scorpion spirit had been tortured to the point of being covered in sweat, and could only lie on the ground panting. "Take out the talisman." Trembling all over, he took out a jade talisman with flashing light from the magic bag, held it with magic power, and sent it to the old man. "Get out of here." He stood up slowly, bowed deeply to the old man, and then walked out. After leaving the main hall, Scorpion Spirit's eyes were filled with gnashing of teeth and hatred. But he knew that now he was with his teacher Pan Wang, just like a bed bug, he could easily be crushed to death. Take a deep breath. I still need to be patient. Looking at the retreating figure, the old man smiled coldly. Does he really not know the hatred these disciples have for him? He's not that stupid. But no matter how much you hate them, the huge difference in their cultivation level means that they are destined to work for you until they die. Moreover, how can a person full of hatred survive the inner demons in the Hunyuan heavenly tribulation? Therefore, he never worried about these disciples. Just incompetent and furious. Looking at the soul talisman in his palm, he frowned. It was not damaged. In that case, it was impossible to lose the target. Every natal scorpion goo he gave to his disciples was the descendant of his 9-tailed scorpion goo. The two parties have a subordinate relationship. Therefore, no matter where the opponent runs, he cannot escape from his grasp. Has he been killed? It's a pity that he is not good at calculation. I finally got a time cicada, can I just lose it like this? King Pan was filled with reluctance. He accidentally got the time cicada from the depths of the southern wilderness jungle. They were originally a pair, but only one was alive. Because it was still a baby, it was given to the third disciple to incubate. I thought that because of the threat of the heart-eating curse he placed on every disciple, even if they hated him, they would not dare to obey him. Unexpectedly, a few years later, the third disciple Siehong defected with Guanjian Chan. Moreover, there was no response when he activated the heart-eating curse several times. It was obvious that the evil disciple had mastered the method of dealing with the heart-eating curse. Fortunately, Siehong was selfish and did not teach this method to all the disciples of Wanda Cave, otherwise all of his disciples would have escaped. Think for a moment. There are not many people in the ancient world who are famous for their deduction skills, but Fuxi is definitely one of them. It just so happened that he also received an invitation to attend the ceremony of Fuxi's ascension to the emperor's clan. Wang Kai seems to have to go. Regardless of whether it is the beginning, the ancient times or the ancient times, Time Cicada is a top spiritual insect, and he will never give up easily. Master, is this Wang Kai? Looking at the huge city in front of him that stretched to the junction of heaven and earth, Zhang Shinian was filled with surprise. This was the first time in many years that he encountered such a huge city. Su Junming looked at it twice and lost interest. This city is indeed very big, even much larger than the so-called first-tier cities in his memory. But no matter how big it is just a pile of countless houses. For people who are used to seeing high-rise buildings, there is nothing to be amazed about. Shua, several rays of light flew from afar. Fly directly towards the inner city in the center of the city. The two masters and disciples looked up and could clearly feel the powerful aura inside. It was obvious that the visitor was extraordinary. Of course, there are also many people who walk into the city like their master and apprentice. Flying into the city is the privilege of Hunyuan monks. Let's go. After Zhang Shinian nodded, he followed his master towards the city gate. There is an official at the entrance who is responsible for the names and origins of the rank. With the support of his younger sister, Saint Nuwa, and being the reincarnation of an ancient great power, there was certainly no shortage of spectators at the grand ceremony where Fuxi ascended to the emperor's family. It can be said that this time, half of the top monks in the world are here. There are even more Daluo monks. After it was the turn of the master and apprentice. Looking at the green-robed Taoist in front of him, he couldn't see any traces of cultivation, let alone the slightest aura. He looks like an ordinary person. However, the otherworldly aura on the other person's body is not something that ordinary people can have. Moreover, the people sent by Fuxi to register the visiting Qi practitioners were all smart, capable, and intelligent people with extraordinary vision. Although there is no mystery, there is no arrogance in his attitude. Therefore, the plot in a bad vulgar novel where the protagonist is blocked and read over and over again, but then fights back and then gets slapped in the face, did not happen. May I ask the senior's name, Taoist name, and where he practices Taoism? The appearance of the Qi masters is very deceptive. They look like boys, but in fact they are old monsters who have practiced several Genkai. There are not just one or two. Therefore, it is never wrong to call senior. Even a newcomer who has just started practicing Qi will feel comfortable when he hears it, and his duties will not go wrong. Su Junming, the Taoist name is Chongshan, and the Taoist temple is in Buzhu Mountain. It turns out that the Taoist priest is a member of the Chongshan section. He is disrespectful. Although only those who have achieved Daluo in Chongshan Academy can go out to practice, the total number of hours spent in a pluralistic society is millions. Wang Kai, as the core of the Donghuang human race, has basically been here. In addition, many years ago, Chongshan spread the story of yellow rice. Therefore, the monks in Wang Kai basically know Chongshan. In addition, the disciples of Chongshan, adhering to Su Junming's teachings, hoe the strong and support the weak, so they have an excellent reputation among Wang Kai and the surrounding human tribes. As for Su Junming, the founder of Chongshan, of course he knew a lot, but no one thought that this legendary being with great supernatural powers would not go directly to the inner city, but instead ran outside and entered through the city gate like an ordinary monk. If you don't expect it, you won't recognize it. He took a jade plaque from the side, engraved Su Junming's name, Taoist number and Taoist temple on it, and handed it over. Please be sure to keep it. You will need this talisman to enter the inner city in the future. Thank you. I took it and took a look. It's just a small magic weapon, and its refining is not complicated. However, deep inside the jade card, there is the phantom of a large seal of the Kowloon intersection. Although it is superficial and unreal, it contains an astonishing imperial aura. Kong Tong Seal. It is rumored that the seal is the human emperor's magic weapon, which contains the human emperor's law. It is the human race's luck-controlling magic weapon. Now it seems to be really good. Thanks to book friend David Zhu for the 100 starting coin reward. Thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1063. While Su Junming was inspecting the jade plaque, Zhang Shinian had also finished it. There are only two names in his jade tablet, Zhang Shinian and Buzz Hushan. As for Qingdi, it is not his Taoist name, but the title called by others. Moreover, Su Junming did not give him a Taoist number. A young man waiting nearby, wearing a light yellow robe, came over. After arriving at Zhang Shinian's side, he bowed. Senior, Wan Kaiu provides special accommodation for visitors who have reached the Deluo realm. Please come with me. Please lead the way. Zhang Shinian nodded and said. The young man bowed his hands and walked in front. Su Junming and Zhang Shinian followed. After walking a few steps, the young man turned back. This fellow Taoist, a visitor who has not been able to advance to Deluo in cultivation, needs to find a place to live in Huancai City. This is my teacher, Zhang Shinian said quickly. The young man was stunned. A person who has reached the Deluo realm would of course like to find an elder above him. Senior, please forgive me for my poor eyesight. A master who can be a Deluo monk must also be a Deluo, or even a higher level. Nothing, just lead the way. Su Junming waved his hand. The young man bowed his hands and bowed before continuing to lead the way. The master and the apprentice enjoyed the beauty of Huancai together. Zhang Shinian just watched the excitement, but Su Junming could see that the layout here had the shadow of the cities in the Buzhu Mountain area and Chongshan Academy. The architectural style is cornices and brackets, blue bricks and red tiles, carved beams and painted columns. Apart from the mountains, there is nothing else. This is also understandable. In addition to cultivation, based on civilization level alone, the future will naturally crush the human race who are still in the age of clans and tribes. It is also human nature to learn from being advanced while falling behind. Led by the young man, the two came to a courtyard in the middle of the city. The courtyard doesn't look big from the outside, but once you walk in, the space quickly expands. A few acres of land turned into millions of acres. Courtyards of similar style, horizontal and vertical, occupy nearly half of the space. The rest of the place is decorated with spring pools and rock eyries. From a distance, although it is not as good as the Holy Land of the Fairy Mountain, it still has a different flavor. It seems that Fuxi's attainments in the way of space have improved a lot compared to before. Two seniors, please come this way. The young man led the two of them through the streets and aisles to a courtyard with the number 183 engraved on the lintel bricks. The young man made a few fingerprints at random, unlocked the door, and pushed the door open. Seniors, please come in. I nodded and went in. There was no screen wall. Straight to the point, there is a courtyard paved with bluestone. There is a two-story wooden building in the middle, with a garden behind it. The environment is simple and elegant, enough to accommodate both master and apprentice. The two seniors are satisfied with this. Su Junming nodded. Just right here. After the young man nodded, he took out a jade slip from his bag and handed it over. This is the way to activate the forbidden law in the courtyard. If Senior has something to do, you can also find me through this jade slip. Just call a few words, and I will come as soon as possible to listen to Senior's orders. Thank you very much. Junior, take your leave. The young man handed over his hands and turned around to leave. Su Junming pinched a few seals, waved his hand, and with a flash of light, the restrictions in the courtyard instantly became hundreds of times stronger. That's what it looks like. With a flick of his finger, a bit of spiritual light flew into Zhang Shinian's eyebrows, teaching him the method of entry and exit. There is still 1 month until the tribal conference is held, so let's stay here for a while. Zhang Shinian nodded and said, Master, you have also been invited by Emperor Fuxi, why don't you go directly to the inner city? I'm not interested in socializing as a teacher. But since I got Fuxi's invitation and I'm here again, I still need to inform you. Spreading his right hand, his magic power turned into a blue phoenix. For a moment, the latter seemed to have some intelligence. After letting out a high-pitched cry, it soared into the sky in an instant, and its speed was extremely fast. Encountering the space barrier here, a flash of inspiration occurred on his body, and a black space channel appeared instantly. After flying in, he reappeared and arrived at Huanqiu City. The wings trembled, as if they had penetrated the space, and they had entered the inner city in an instant. After a moment of sensing, Qingfeng flew straight towards the main hall in the center of the inner city. The guarding soldiers thought they were guests from afar and did not stop them. After the green phoenix landed, it transformed into the figure of Su Junming. The body is solid and the appearance is similar. Except for his cultivation, he is exactly the same as the original deity. Climb the steps and come to the palace gate. Soon someone on duty came forward to ask. Dare you ask the chief's name and Taoist number? Is fellow Taoist Fuxi among them? Those who could reach this point were all-powerful Hunyuan masters, many of whom were ancient cultivators, so he called his king by his first name, and the other party was not angry. The Holy Emperor is receiving guests there. Su Junming nodded, stretched out his hand, and a jade talisman fell into the hands of the person on duty. Excuse me, please give this jade talisman to fellow Taoist Fuxi. He took it with both hands and respectfully agreed. After smiling slightly, Su Junming's figure disappeared. The person on duty was stunned for a moment, and after being amazed, he did not dare to neglect and hurriedly brought the jade talisman to the main hall. He is only responsible for reception outside, and there will be people waiting on him in the hall. He tapped the jade talisman on his waist with his magic power, and an old man wearing a navy blue robe, with gray hair and a majestic air came out. General Manager, a chi refiner asked me to give this to the king. The visitor took the jade talisman and looked at it, subconsciously entering into consciousness for the first time. But a huge force instantly ejected his consciousness. His expression changed. After all, he is also the perfect existence of Deluo Jingxian, and the ability to rebound his spiritual consciousness means that the person who left this jade talisman must be a Hunyuan monk. Where is the person? Leave the jade talisman and leave. Can you leave your name and Taoist number? Never. How does it look? The receptionist touched the center of his eyebrows, and his aura quickly transformed into the appearance of Su Junming. The steward looked a little strange, he had never seen this person before. But it's not surprising. Some Hunyuan monks have been in seclusion for tens of millions of years. It's normal for him not to recognize even a Yuan Hui. Just when he was about to go in with the jade talisman, a familiar breath came from behind. His expression instantly became submissive. Turned. Holy Emperor! Give me the jade talisman. He quickly handed over the jade talisman with both hands. After taking it, his spiritual consciousness touched the jade talisman, and the previous obstacles disappeared instantly, and the information inside appeared in Fuxi's heart. Did you see where the visitor went? The young official who accepted the jade talisman said quickly. The senior came in the form of a green phoenix, and then deceived him away. My subordinates have shallow cultivation and cannot understand the mystery. I know, go down. The young official bowed, turned, and walked away. The jade talisman in Fuxie's hand began to slowly dissipate. Brother seems to value this person very much. A clear and majestic female voice sounded from behind. Fuxie waved his hand, and after watching the jade talismans completely dissipate, he turned to look at his stunningly beautiful sister who was wearing a dark red palace dress, with a golden bow in her hair, and majesty in her phoenix eyes. This man is extraordinary. Oh! Stepping back to the main hall, Nuwa followed. The brother and sister sat down safely. What do you think of my Fuxie clan, sister? There are many people, wealth and prosperity, many geniuses, and prosperous rituals and music. It was the time when the demon clan was at its most prosperous. Except for the many strong ones, the rest were not as good as my brother's Fuxie clan. In less than 2 Yuanhui's time, my brother was able to achieve such great achievements. My little sister admires him very much. Fuxie smiled. My sister is too praised. The painting style changed and the words were filled with emotion. However, you don't know something. Although my Fuxie clan is prosperous, it is not even 1/10 of Chongshan Academy. Nuwa frowned slightly. What my brother is talking about is the family sect that occupies a radius of 300 trillion miles from Mount Buzhu. It seems that my sister has also heard of them. After nodding slowly, although I haven't been in the ancient world in recent years, I have heard some news about them. I just didn't expect that my brother would speak so highly of them. I'm not afraid of my sister's jokes when I say it. The rules in the Fuxie clan are all modified by me based on the rules of Chongshan Academy governing the tribes under my command. The yellow rice widely grown by the Fuxie tribe also comes from the Chongshan line, as do the rituals and music. It's a pity that Fuxie is not Chongshan Academy after all. It can only imitate without being fundamental. In the end, it is only specious and inconsistent, and it is difficult to do its full work. I didn't expect that my brother would have such a high opinion of Chongshan Academy, Nuwa said. When you work hard for a Yuanhui but can't compare with the other party, you will be like me. The more I study Kongshan's system, the more exquisite it becomes. Unfortunately, the core educational system and content of Chongshan Academy have always been kept secret. Although he has peeked at it for many years, he has never been able to get the essence. Coincidentally, this is also the fundamental reason why the Fuxie family is always inferior to Chongshan. A perfect education system and the cultivation of a steady stream of qualified talents are the foundation for the continuous growth of Chongshan Academy and the various ethnic groups under its command. I'm curious about what my brother said. She knew her brother's character. Steady and cautious. From the ancient transformation to the present, dozens of Yuanhui have come down, and the few who can be praised by him, namely Sanking and Zhen Yuanzi, add up to no more than 2 palms. They are all powerful beings who are famous throughout the ancient times. This true lord of Chongshan, Su Junming, is not a guest of the 3,000 guests of Zixiao Palace, nor is he a remnant from the ancient times. What virtues and abilities does his brother have so much praise for? Fuxie smiled faintly. You'll see him. Looking at the way my brother looked after receiving the jade talisman just now, this person has already arrived in Wankaiu. Exactly. But he didn't say where he was. What's so difficult about this? I'm here to find him. I want to see who this true lord of Chongshan, Su Junming, is, to be so praised by my brother. Sister, don't make mistakes. Before he finished speaking, he noticed an extremely powerful saint's consciousness coming out. In an instant, it seemed as if the power of God had descended. The entire Wankaiu monks were trembling under the vast sea of consciousness. A Hunyuan monk who came here earlier quickly understood the identity of the other party. Nuwa, the Empress of Saints. Therefore, even if you are angry at the other party's unscrupulous spiritual consciousness, you dare not speak out. Women, even saints, are still unreasonable. Fuxi shook his head helplessly. It has been more than a dozen years since she became a saint, but my sister is still the same. Huh. Nuwa's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. Brother, is this person really in Huanqiu City? Certainly. Impossible. How can he, a Hunyuan cultivator, hide his knowledge from me? This fellow Taoist Su uses space to achieve enlightenment. Although your consciousness is strong, it is difficult for him to hide in the cracks of space. It is a bit extraordinary to achieve enlightenment through space. But even so, it is impossible to block my spiritual consciousness from prying, unless he is not in Huanqiu at all. Thank you to the book Friends King, and thank you for your company for each tip of 100 starting coins. Thank you very much.